Greetings to you this day. This is Michelle Strickland, and I'm coming to you today with Conversations with Self. So Conversations with Self is usually a segment that I do on a Monday, but I'm subject to do it any day of the week if I feel inclined to do so. It's something that I do where I have a topic and I just talk to myself about it. I'll record it. What are you going to talk about today, Michelle? Well, Michelle, we're going to talk about ways to practice self-compassion. Treating yourself with kindness and understanding is a crucial aspect of practicing self-compassion, especially when dealing with trauma. Here are some tips to help you cultivate self-compassion in the face of trauma. A lot of us are dealing with trauma, Not everybody, but there's a lot of us out here, and I'm going to give you some suggestions. And these are things that I do. I'm dealing with trauma. And it just seems to be every day, but I'm trying to get through it and manage it the best I can, Acknowledge your feelings. Recognize and accept your emotions, even if they're painful and difficult. And that's something we need to do. We need to look at it. If you're upset about something, then think about why are you upset about it, okay? I'm not going to hover on this stuff too long. But just try not to stay there. But let me keep going. Practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness techniques to stay present and reduce the impact of distressing thoughts. So just be in the moment, okay? Just look at your wall and say, okay, the wall is whatever color it is, and just try to go, just start looking at objects and trying to get your mind to switch gears, okay? Seek professional help. Reach out to therapists, counselors, or support groups that specialize in trauma. They can help provide valuable guidance and support, and I encourage you to do that. I have had to do that, and I'm not beyond or above doing that if I feel like I need to, I don't have anybody I can just go, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do that. I don't trust everybody for that. So there's no shame in getting professional help, okay? Set realistic expectations. Understand that healing is a process, and it's okay to take things one step at a time. Don't rush yourself through your healing, and don't allow people to rush you through it because they don't know how you feel. Just try to manage it the best you can, But don't allow people to rush you through what you're going through, You know how you feel about it. Just try to, get yourself out of it, Don't just sit there stewing in it. Have something that you do, to stay active, Anyway, validate your experience. Remind yourself that your feelings and experiences are valid, regardless of whether others understand or acknowledge them. That's your problems are your problems. They're not anybody else's problems. So, I'm just using this, as an example. We can't really expect people to understand our problem, okay? If it's our problem, they have their problems, That's like them expecting us to understand their problems. They're the ones going through it, even if we've gone through similar situations, okay? I'm going to keep going. Prioritize self-care. Engage in activities that promote physical, emotional, and mental well-being, such as exercise, meditation, and spending time in nature. And I do all three of those things, often, daily, some of them daily. I go out in the nature and stuff like that, all the time. Establish boundaries. Learn to say no when necessary and protect your mental and emotional space from potentially triggering situations or people. And I do that. I'm hard to get to know anyway, and I don't trust people. And when I give somebody an opportunity to get to know me, then they just do me in, and then that just throws me back even further, because they turn out to not be, very good people, Not all the people, not everybody. I have a few people, but I don't allow too many people around me. And if I'm getting to know somebody and I see that their behaviors aren't contrary, where there's always a problem and they're in an uproar all the time, I get away from them. I don't want that chaos in my life, And I have the right to feel like that. I don't have to allow people in my life if they're not balanced. Practice gratitude. Focus on positive aspects of life, no matter how small they may seem. I enjoy just looking at the grass. I'll sit here and look out my window and look at the trees and and just be mindless and watch the cars go by and just just relax, appreciate the small things. Appreciate that you woke up, this morning. Appreciate that you get to do it over. Find the small things, the flower, looking at the beauty of God's nature, just anything, Journaling. Write down thoughts and emotions. This can provide clarity and act as a therapeutic outlet. I write every day, but I have other stuff that I do. But I stay busy, doing something. Just because you don't see me, I'm doing videos, sometimes I just have to stop and just rest. But I have other stuff that I'm doing, and I'm not on anybody else's time schedule on when I get things done. I do stuff when I feel inclined to work on it, I'm not going to let people rush me into anything that pertains to me. I do stuff at my own pace, and I'm blessed to be able to do that, Engage in creative outlets. Art, music, and other creative pursuits can be powerful tools for self-expression and healing. I listen to music all the time. I go to concerts sometimes and stuff like that, I do video exercises. That's my way of being creative. That's one of the ways. Connect with supportive people. Surround yourself with understanding, empathetic individuals who can provide a safe space for you to share your feelings. And that's what I'm trying to create with my channels. A safe space where people can interact with each other, And so eventually I'll go live, Right now it's not my priority. But eventually, and then I'll have other opportunities. But I'm trying to create a network of people that appreciate the same types of things, Challenge negative self-talk. And I'm big about that. I am huge about that, I believe in speaking positivity into people and not negativity. Can I be negative? I can be fiery. Yeah, I can. If I feel like it's a bully or something like that, and I need to step up and match them with the heat that they're bringing, I sure can. I don't like to do that, but I can. But at any rate, challenge negative self-talk. Replace self-criticism with self-compassion. Treat yourself as you would a friend in a similar situation. That's why I do them affirmations, I do affirmations just about every day. And I do that for positive self-talk, because I have goals and I want to keep my mental health in a good place. So I do things like that. I'm not talking to you guys about things that I'm not doing. I'm real serious about everything that I do. Even the little goofy video, smile, calm down. Those are exercises I developed, Practice forgiveness. This includes forgiving yourself by any perceived shortcomings or mistakes you believe you've made. And you need to do that. That sounds silly, but you need to so you can heal, If you've made a mistake, tell yourself you forgive yourself, If you have an opportunity to tell the person you transgressed against you're sorry, do that if you can, If you can't, just tell God you're sorry and repent. Depending on what it is. Some people might not want you near them if you did them in, if you did them in and did them wrong. But that's the first step. You have to forgive yourself, and you need to learn how to forgive others so you can heal yourself. That doesn't mean you have to be best friends, but you need to get in the mindset so you can let it go and move on with your life and not stay stuck. And be patient with yourself. Understand that healing takes time, and it's okay to experience setbacks along the way. And I just had to get there because that's something I have to work on. Because I set a schedule for myself, and I try to stick to it. And if I get set back, that's just something that it affects me, and it's something I got to work on. Remember, practicing self-compassion is an ongoing journey. It's important to be gentle with yourself and to celebrate the progress you make, no matter how small it may seem.